NFL player from each team. Number 32, the Carolina Panthers. It's gotta be Bryce Young, the #1 pick, right? Wrong! He has a 2-16 record playing for the Panthers. Get him off my screen and give me Andy Dalton. As soon as the Panthers changed quarterbacks, they started playing so much better. Over 40,000 passing yards in his career. We all know he's not a superstar, but he's better than those other Panther players. Number 31, the Washington Commanders. Jaden Daniels, the most exciting rookie of this year. In week 3, Jaden Daniels passed 21 completions in 23 tries. That 91.3 completion percentage is the best in NFL history for a rookie. Not only can he throw the ball, he is one of the fastest quarterbacks in the league. He has made the Commanders a decent team. He is the future of their franchise. Number 30, the Chicago Bears. Caleb Williams? No, maybe in a few years. It is obviously DJ Moore. If you watch DJ Moore, you know he's one of the best wide receivers in the league. He just never has a good quarterback to throw him the ball. If this guy was on the Chiefs, he would be a legit superstar. Number 29, the New England Patriots. This team stinks, but we have to choose somebody to be the best. And their best player is Ramondre Stevenson, who's a good running back, but he's not great. And I don't want to waste time talking about such a boring player on a boring team. Number 28, the Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love. Last season was his first year as a starting quarterback, replacing Aaron Rodgers. That's not an easy thing to do. And what did he do? 36 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. The Packers were 9-8 with a winning record, and he's only 26 years old, so he's only going to get better. Number 27, the Tennessee Titans. They lost Derrick Henry, who was their best player for the last 10 years, but now it's their new running back, Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard is one of the best running backs at catching the ball. This guy gets like 5 receptions a game as a running back, but that's not the biggest reason he's their best player. The biggest reason is the rest of their team stinks, and I mean really stinks. Number 26, the Denver Broncos. Finally, we're getting into some really good players because their best player is the best cornerback in the league, Pat Surtain, a wide receiver's biggest nightmare. Think of all the best receivers in the league. When they play against the Broncos, they have a bad game because Pat Surtain is guarding them. Earlier this season, Mike Evans was dominating, and then he played the Broncos and he had 2 catches for 17 yards because Pat Surtain was guarding him. That's how good this dude is. He locks people down. Number 25, the New York Giants. Daniel Jones, maybe the most underrated quarterback. I'm kidding. I am kidding. I'm a Giants fan and I can't stand Daniel Jones. But you know who I can stand? Malik Neighbors, the best player on our team. He was selected number 6 overall in the most recent draft, and he has been dominating for the Giants. He has added life to our offense. The Giants with Malik Neighbors are looking even better than when we had Saquon Barkley. You know how crazy it is that this guy is making a bigger impact than Saquon? That is impressive. Number 24, the Seattle Seahawks. Is it Kenneth Walker, their superstar running back, who is like a truck, or DK Metcalf, their superstar wide receiver, who also happens to be built like a truck? Well, it's not Kenneth and it's not DK. You know why? Because it's Geno Smith. Tell me this, when did the Seahawks start winning games? When they got DK Metcalf? No. When they got Kenneth Walker? No. As soon as they got Geno Smith, they became a winning franchise. The last 2 seasons with the Seahawks, Geno Smith has been a Pro Bowler. He was even in the MVP race in 2022. I'm not joking, he was literally voted 9th in the MVP race. Geno Smith is the heart and soul of that team. Number 23, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Mike Evans, the guy that gets 10 touchdowns every single season because he's 6'5", and instead of playing basketball, he decided to just dominate NFL teams. This guy averages 1 touchdown per game. He does not get the credit he deserves, but Mike, I got you. I'm giving you that credit today. Number 22, the Las Vegas Raiders. Max Crosby is their best player. Max Crosby is one of the best defenders in the league. He puts fear into the other team's quarterback. quarterbacks because of how many sacks he gets and because of how hard he hits. Last season, Max Crosby had 15 sacks and he forced 2 fumbles. Number 21, the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's gotta be Trevor Lawrence, the number 1 pick, their star quarterback. No. Trevor Lawrence is a fraud. In his whole career, he has a losing record. The Jaguars have had a good defense, good receivers, a great running back. There's no excuse for why Trevor Lawrence is playing bad. He made 1 Pro Bowl a couple years ago, which tricked all of us into thinking maybe he was good, but he went right back to being some hot doo-doo. Get him off my screen. The best player on the Jaguars is Travis Etienne Jr., an elite running back, one of the best pass-catching running backs in the league. Not only is he better than Trevor Lawrence, but he is significantly better than Trevor Lawrence. Number 20, the LA Chargers. This is my favorite one so far. Their best player is Joe Alt, their rookie right tackle. An offensive lineman is never the best player on a team, but Joe Alt is. In his first game of his career this season, they played the Raiders. He was guarding Max Crosby, who we just talked about as being one of the best defenders in the league. And Max Crosby had no sacks. And not only did he have no sacks, he had no pressures, which means that not even once did he pressure the quarterback. This guy locks down the best defenders in the league. I guarantee if they had to pick between Justin Herbert or Joe Alt, they would rather keep Joe Alt. He is the future of their offensive line. Number 19, the New Orleans Saints. Alvin Kamara. Everybody doubted him. Everybody thought he's finally getting old. This is the year he goes downhill. But Alvin Kamara is the same guy he's been for the last 5 years. Incredible. I said Travis Etienne was a great pass-catching running back. I said Tony Pollard was a great pass-catching running back. Alvin Kamara is the best pass-catching running back. No joke, if he wanted to be a wide receiver, he could. He has those skills. But he also happens to be an amazing rusher, averaging 5 yards per carry this season. 5 yards per carry. That is unbelievable. He is the heart of the New Orleans Saints, but he's also the soul of the team because he's been with them his entire career since 2017, and he's been their best player this whole time. Number 18, the Dallas Cowboys. CD Lamb, you are a great player, a great wide receiver. You were the number 1 pick in a lot of fantasy leagues this year. But guess what? You're not the best. Get off the screen. Don't give me Dak. I love Dak, but get him off my screen too. I know those are the popular answers, but I'm here to give you the truth. And the truth is, Micah Parsons is the best and most valuable player on the Cowboys. Micah Parsons had 14 sacks last season while being double-teamed. He is so good that they have to use 2 offensive linemen to block him, but he still gets through for a sack. The day they got Micah Parsons in 2021, when he won Defensive Rookie of the Year, and every season he's been an All-Pro player, a Pro Bowl player too. The day they got him was the day the Cowboys became a good defense. Number 17, the Detroit Lions. How do I even choose? They have the best offensive line in the NFL. They have Jahmyr Gibbs, who is a superstar. They have Amon-Ra St. Brown, a top 5 receiver. How can I decide? Well, I'll give you a hint. It's none of them. It is Aiden Hutchinson. Aiden Hutchinson, the guy who had 5 sacks in a game this season. 5 sacks in 1 game. The Lions' offense is incredible, but all of those guys, they work together to make it happen. There's no one player on their offense that dominates like Aiden Hutchinson dominates by himself on defense. He's the best. Number 16, the Indianapolis Colts. Anthony Richardson, I was hoping I could say you. You were supposed to be so good, but you've been terrible. You're not even top 5 on this team. This one's obvious. It's Jonathan Taylor, who somehow, even with a terrible quarterback, somehow this guy always finds a way to dominate, to get his 10, 12, 13 touchdowns every season. The defense knows the Colts are gonna run the ball, and Jonathan Taylor still goes for 20 yards. Number 15, the Houston Texans. This one's actually really tough. It's CJ Stroud or Nico Collins. Nico Collins has become one of the best wide receivers in the league. Out of nowhere. Last season, he had 1,300 yards and 8 touchdowns. But wait, that's the same year that CJ Stroud was drafted. And CJ Stroud had 26 touchdowns to only 5 interceptions. So did Nico Collins randomly get really good? Or did he finally get a good quarterback to pass him the ball? He finally got a good quarterback. Not a good quarterback, an amazing quarterback. CJ Stroud is their best player. Number 14, the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray. Last year, the Cardinals were terrible because Kyler was hurt. As soon as he came back at the end of the season, the Cardinals played amazing on offense. And this year, with a healthy Kyler Murray, their offense has been top 5 in the league. A lot of mobile quarterbacks like Jaden Daniels, Anthony Richardson, some of these guys, if you take away their speed, they wouldn't be a starting quarterback in this league. They don't have the arm talent. But Kyler Murray, who has amazing legs, can run for 100 yards in a game sometimes. He's such a good passer that even if he couldn't run the ball, he would be an elite quarterback, which is incredible. He is on another level. He is their best player. And with Marvin Harrison Jr. on the team now, oh boy, watch out for the Cardinals. Their offense is going to be crazy good for a long time. Number 13, the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow or Jamar Chase? Are we gonna act like this is really a decision? I mean, I love me some Joe Burrow. He's on my fantasy team, but he's not on the same level as Jamar Chase, the best player on their team. His rookie season, 1,500 yards. Last season, 1,200 yards. In the 3 seasons in the NFL, he's averaged 10 touchdowns a season. He is incredible. And I know he's only number 13. You probably thought he'd be like number 5 or something. Let me tell you, there's just so much talent this year. That's why Jamar Chase is only number 13. And talking about some of that new talent, number 12, the Atlanta Falcons, Bijan Robinson. In terms of raw talent, Bijan Robinson might be number 1 in the NFL. He is filled with just pure talent. When you watch him run the ball, you can see this guy is special. He is a generational player. Number 11, the Baltimore Ravens. It's between Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. It is a tough choice, I will be honest. They are both worthy of being called the best. Derrick Henry, at this age, people thought he would slow down, he would stop getting all those touchdowns. Wrong. He has been dominated. At the age of 30, Derrick Henry plays like he's 25, like an absolute truck running down the field. But even after saying all of that, Lamar Jackson is their best player. Lamar Jackson is about to break Michael Vick's record for most rushing yards in a season by a quarterback. Lamar Jackson has won 2 MVPs, including last season. It's not like it was a long time ago. He won MVP last year. Remember how I said Kyler Murray, if he couldn't run the ball, would still be an elite quarterback? Most people won't believe this, but it's also true for Lamar Jackson. A lot of people think Lamar is only good because of his speed. That's false. That is false. If you look at his accuracy stats, if you watch the games, he is an elite thrower of the football. So the fact that he could throw like a superstar quarterback, but also run like a running back, makes him more valuable than almost anybody in the league, which is why he's won 2 MVPs. Number 10, the San Francisco 49ers. It is Brock Purdy. In his young career, he's had 50 touchdowns and 16 interceptions. In his first season as a starting quarterback, he led the team to the Super Bowl. And the reason they lost is he got hurt at the Super Bowl. As soon as Brock Purdy down, the team fell apart. They have a great offensive line, great wide receivers, great defense. They have Christian McCaffrey, who I know is extremely good. But without McCaffrey, they still won. Without Brandon Ayuk, their best wide receiver, they still won. As soon as they lose Brock Purdy, the team falls apart. He is their best player. Number 9, the Philadelphia Eagles. Everybody thinks it's Saquon Barkley. I love Saquon. He is one of the best running backs in the league. But remember this, every year, the last few years, whoever the running back of the Eagles is, they dominate. DeAndre Swift last year was one of the best running backs. Why? Because they have an incredible offensive line. So Saquon Barkley, who is having a historic season, a big reason is that offensive line. So you can't be the most valuable player on a team if you're replaceable. Saquon is replaceable. You know who's not? A.J. Brown, the best player of the Eagles. A.J. Brown is a bully at the wide receiver position. He puts fear in the cornerbacks. They do not want to guard this guy. And every time A.J. Brown gets injured, the team falls apart. The offense is horrible. He is carrying the Eagles. Number 8, the L.A. Rams is Cooper Kupp. When Cooper Kupp is healthy, the Rams won a Super Bowl. When he was healthy last year, the Rams were unstoppable until he got hurt. Yeah, I know they have Puka Nacua, who is great, but he's not on the level of Cooper Kupp. And even more proof, look at week 1 of this year. Finally, Cooper Kupp is healthy. He had 14 catches, 110 yards, and 1 touchdown. As soon as Cooper Kupp got hurt, the Rams offense became miserable. Matthew Stafford wasn't looking so good anymore. They became a running team because without Cooper Kupp, the team fell apart. People are making the same mistake. They see someone's age and they think, oh, he's too old. Cooper Kupp is 31. There's no way he's still in his prime. Cooper Kupp at the age of 31 is better than almost anybody at the wide receiver position. Number 7, the Kansas City Chiefs. It is Patrick Mahomes. He is easily their best player. But why is he only number 7? Greg, shouldn't he be number 1? No, there is a quarterback better than Patrick Mahomes, and I will prove it to you. Number 6, the New York Jets. Who would have guessed that they are at number 6? Well, it's obviously between two guys. It's between Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson, a superstar at each of their positions. But how do we know which one is better? I'll tell you how we know. For both of those positions, it is impossible to be good with a bad quarterback. If you're a wide receiver, you need someone to throw you the ball. If you're a running back, how are you going to run when they expect the run? Because they know your quarterback is terrible. Last year, with a terrible quarterback, Zach Wilson, Garrett Wilson was average. He looked like an average wide receiver. But Breece Hall dominated. The defense knew they were going to run the ball, but Breece Hall was a top 3 running back in the NFL. They are both elite players, but Breece Hall is just on another level. And now that the Jets actually have a good team, oh, he's going to be scary good. Moving on to the top 5. Number 5, the Cleveland Browns. Myles Garrett, a 5-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro, and one of the scariest defenders ever. The last 3 seasons, 16 sacks, and 14 sacks. Last year, he even forced 4 fumbles. He won Defensive Player of the Year. My goodness, he is by far their best player. Number 4, the Pittsburgh Steelers. You notice how I didn't say Myles Garrett was the scariest player in the league? I didn't say that because this guy is the scariest player right now in the league. T.J. Watt. The Pittsburgh Steelers, with a miserable offense, are actually kind of good this year because of T.J. Watt. In 2022, he was hurt, so forget that season. But the last 4 years that he's been healthy, 15 sacks, 22.5 sacks, and 19 sacks. He had a season where he forced 8 fumbles. T.J. Watt will go down as one of the greatest defenders in NFL history, and I am not kidding, I am not exaggerating. He has a chance to become the best defender in NFL history. Number 3, the Minnesota Vikings. Justin Jefferson, the gritty machine. We all know he is amazing, but what's most impressive about Justin Jefferson, he doesn't need a superstar quarterback. Whether it was Kirk Cousins or Joshua Dobbs or even the rookie Jaren Hall last year, and now Sam Darnold, it doesn't matter who his quarterback is. Justin Jefferson plays like a superstar. And people think, wow, Sam Darnold looks really good. Or last year, wow, Joshua Dobbs looks really good. Maybe we were wrong about that. No, it's not that those guys are playing really well. It's that Justin Jefferson is so good, he's making those guys look good. Justin Jefferson was hurt last season, but the year before, he had 1,800 yards and won Offensive Player of the Year. This guy is gonna lead the Vikings to a Super Bowl and maybe multiple Super Bowls. Number 2, the Miami Dolphins. Tyreek Hill, the most talented wide receiver in the league. We have all seen what Tyreek Hill can do. He is fast enough to be in the Olympic sprint. He is literally that fast. Last season, he had 1,800 yards and 13 touchdowns. The year before that, 1,700 yards. People thought he would get worse without Patrick Mahomes, but he got better when he left the Chiefs. If he has a half-decent quarterback, he doesn't need a great quarterback. He just needs anybody with half a brain to throw him the ball, and Tyreek Hill will get the job done. And number 1, the best player on his team, but also the best player in the NFL, from the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen. Josh Allen has made the biggest statement this season. He lost his superstar wide receiver, Stephon Diggs. He lost Gabe Davis. Josh Allen had a bunch of nobodies at wide receiver. Everybody said this was the year he would get exposed. But what has Josh Allen done? He has played out of his mind. He has been the best quarterback in the NFL. He's been throwing the ball like Tom Brady and running the ball like Derrick Henry. He is so dangerous on offense that even with no wide receivers, he gets the job done. And that's why he's the best. But what about the 8 best NFL teams if every jersey number had a team?